So you've been asked to do a presentation as part of the interview process. Here are a couple of tips to help you to ensure that you smash it at the interview. Number one, very important, the so what question. What is the objective? What is the key message you're trying to deliver in the presentation as part of the interview? So they've given you a question. Keep your mind on that question and don't sort of wander all over the place. Every slide in your presentation must have a key message. You should look at the slide and say, okay, that's the purpose that particular slide is serving. That other slide is serving this particular purpose, and you should be able to see each slide, what is the key message each slide is delivering. Any slide in your slideware that you cannot immediately answer the so what question to has no business being in that slide pack. Number one. The other thing to bear in mind when you're putting together a presentation for an interview is try and keep the slides simple. Don't overcrowd the slides. And usually when they tell you how long they've given you for your presentation, that's a good tip and a bit of a hint as to how many slides they're expecting. So for an example, if it's a 10-minute presentation, they're not expecting to see 50 slides because you're not going to be able to get through it. Rule of thumb, if it's a 10-minute presentation, 2 slides, maximum 3, should about summarize everything you want to say in those 10 minutes because you don't want to rush and you don't want to give them too much information. Bear in mind that when they ask you for a presentation as part of your interview, they're looking for 2 things. They're looking for your presentation skills. That means how are you landing the messages? They're also looking for how you've positioned your slides. So those are 2 things you need to bear in mind when you're presenting these information. So back to what I said about making sure that your slides are not busy. Keep them bullet pointed, your key points bullet pointed, and voiceover. And make sure that what you're saying, you're speaking articulately, you're speaking calmly, and you're delivering your points concisely. Do not waffle. Do not sort of go around the houses in terms of making your point, especially if it's a short presentation. At the back of your mind, always remember that thing about so what. What am I trying to say with each slide that I've got in this pack? Now, as also part of creating the slideware, when you come to verbalizing what you've got in the slideware, make sure that even your body language is positioned as someone who is speaking confidently. And this is whether you are doing this presentation in person or online via an online interview process. Again, people are looking at how you're talking. They're looking at how you're using your arms, how you're using your hands even when you're talking. Try and not gobble over your words. There might be time where you might have to pause for effect because you're landing a particular message. It's all about how you land things when it comes to presentations. Now, if they had any questions, and you should encourage them at the end of your presentation, say, have you got any questions? If any questions arise that you do not have the answer to, don't say, I don't know, or look deflated. It is perfectly acceptable to say, not quite sure I have the answer to that question just yet. Can I come back to that, or can we circle back to that later? Perfectly fine to say that, rather than look deflated or say, oh, I don't know. I don't know doesn't really fly professionally. Just a side talk to that anyway. So I hope those tips have helped you with your next interview presentation, and I hope you've picked up a lot from what I've just said. If you want to know more, sign up for any of our training courses. We do a whole module on how to do presentations. So comment, like, share, and let us know what you think about these tips and any tips you think may also help when you have done presentation. For you see, it's really not rocket science.